Hey, what's up guys? So I thought I should finally get to making a review for this game after practically doing everything in this game for quite a while now. Actually, it's been well over 2 weeks since I've beaten the game. It's just that I've been kind of sick, so I couldn't really, make this review as early as I intended to. But so let's get to it. So in this review, I'll explain what is exactly in this game and also mention both the good and bad things I found while playing the game. So something I believe all of you should know is that this game is not an arcade game like Full Boost or Vanilla, so it will not have modes such as arcade route missions. With this review being a bit late due to me being sick, I've seen quite a bit of criticism, which on the most part seems to be very negative, obviously. And some of it I actually kind of do disagree with. For example, most people thought this game was going to be a wonderful multiplayer 2-on-2 experience that you can enjoy in the palm of your hands worldwide. But we've all known that this game was going to be ad hoc only before release, so that's not something you can legitimately, bash the game about, honestly. On the other hand though, one of the popular bits of criticism that's found deep within the pile of frustration that people have with this game is that the game lacks content. Now, that I actually do agree with. There really isn't much to even do in this game, in all honesty, and the game is also, in my opinion, overpriced when it was released. But moving back to the ad hoc thing, there is no actual online mode, just an ad hoc mode between two players. The game itself only allows you to play missions and nothing else, and I would honestly have no problem with that had this game actually enhanced that experience. So for example, let's actually dive into the story mode for this game. Gundam Extreme vs. Force is a game that focuses primarily on missions that you complete in 4 different areas. These areas have storylines that you can experience from series such as the original 0079, Zeta, Double Zeta, Char's Counterattack, and even Unicorn Gundam. They also have extra missions you can complete to unlock suits such as Freedom, Wing Zero, or even God Gundam. The game does indeed have a main story mode objective that gives you a purpose for actually doing these missions, and that's to collect battle data for these 2 little girls or something that you'll often meet after most of the story missions. I'm going to be honest, the story mode in this game is not satisfying. From my experience, there really was no drive to actually attempt to do all of these missions, really. It would probably take the average player a handful of hours to complete the game, and probably less if they're an EXVS player like myself. This whole experience could have been a lot better if they would have actually included some sort of spark in the different series story missions. You literally just start the mission and just kill an X amount of AIs, capture bases, or defeat the enemy battleship, and that's pretty much it. There are no memorable moments in the story mode that's even worth mentioning, really. It's an empty experience that could have been better by including cutscenes or even new dialogue back and forth between the different characters such as Banagher and Full Frontal. Most of what you hear from the characters are just copy and pasted from the arcade versions, but moving back to the overall story experience. It's pretty much like doing a what-if battle in free mode in Full Boost by pitting Banagher and FAUC against Pissed Off Reddy and Banshee Nord and just simply stamping it as a versus type mission. There's just very little reason to love the different storyline missions this game has to offer, and it's very unfortunate. More in-depth and memorable storytelling could have shaved off much of the negative opinions people have about this game. Alright, so let's actually dive into the new game features the game offers, excluding ones we've already seen in games such as Full Boost or Vanilla, by starting off with the squad battles. I'm not gonna lie, the squad battles were really fun and are also one of the main reasons why I actually bought this game, next to trying out the maxi suits of course. In missions labeled as Force, you can usually create multiple squads with either a playable suit or support suit. You're at first limited by what you can actually pair due to a cost limit, so for example, if your cost capacity is 5,500, you can't pair FAUC and Adorn together because they're both 3,000 cost units and exceed the cost capacity. You can, however, increase this limit by gathering Haro medals each mission offers. Haro medals are basically rewards for many challenges that each mission has, and you can complete those challenges to earn a medal. They can also be used to help unlock an area's hidden side mission requirement. Squad battles also sort of feel like Pokemon because every playable suit you have can be leveled after each mission with experience points. Modifications to the suit can also be earned every time you level the suit until it is level capped. And one important thing to mention is that you must complete the story and side missions to actually unlock mobile suits. So you aren't given all of them from the start like the arcade titles, but during in-game battles you can access a menu that you can spend the force points you have acquired by either capturing bases or killing enemies to spend on buffs, squad heals, or even a really kind of edgy battleship force attack. There are indeed mobile armors in this game such as the Psycho Gundam and Psycho Gundam Mark II, Big Zam, and even the Shambolo. It personally felt like I was in control of an unstoppable force whenever they are on my side, and you really do sort of get that feeling whenever it happens. But specific mobile armors such as Shambolo are complete powerhouses. That thing can potentially solo the mission and hold its own if you control it right. But moving back to playable units, there are unfortunately some suits that are only obtainable as support units and cannot be played, such as Peru's Cubile. And don't quote me on this, but if I can remember, there were about 43 mobile suits that are playable in this game, including the released DLC suits formed for Robotos and Heine's Destiny Gundam. And I really can't understand why people are disappointed that there aren't that many mobile suits to play in this game, because there are some iconic suits such as Strike Freedom and 00 that aren't even in this game, and it kind of makes you scratch your head because, I mean, everybody, or you should obviously get this idea in your head that a lot of people love Strike Freedom and 00, but they're not even in this game. And that kind of really just seemed bizarre to me, really. And in addition to squad battles, there are also versus missions that are pretty much a one-on-one squad fight, which is basically 2 versus 2 until the enemy cost gauge is empty. So this will be a very familiar game mode to EXVS players. There are also survival missions where you just obviously of course survive until the time limit runs out, but the game only had a handful of those missions if I recall. And lastly, there are also force missions where you have to escort your battleship to a specific route before the time runs out, and those missions are pretty annoying. Not annoying in the sense that it's really difficult, but annoying because battleships in this game move at the speed of like 0.00001 miles per hour and can be shot down quickly if you don't clear the mobs that lie ahead of it. So pretty much you have to eliminate everything ahead of the ship and move your ship up as you clear the path before the time runs out. So if you've played full boost, GP points may seem very familiar, and you earn them after completing each mission. These points can be used to heal your units before missions, or to even purchase stat modifiers such as increased damage from the advanced menu. I personally didn't really use this feature because I preferred to play this game as is without training wheels. I mean, the game already is incredibly easy to play if you're a vet, and it would just be plain boring, and I kind of think it's cheating if I gave myself insane modifiers like that. But if you're new to the EXVS series, then you shouldn't feel ashamed to use this. Learning how to use some of the suits in this game can be kind of daunting, and understanding their mechanics can be frustrating as well for many people. Game mechanics wise, the only true problem I had was the lock-on system. You can't really control where the lock-on reticle will land unless you align your character at the precise spot, and it can sometimes get incredibly bizarre, especially when you're surrounded by, a whole bunch of grunts and other AI suits. And another thing to mention, which many people actually consider a big problem, would be that they've stripped many suits of their abilities, but for the most part, the majority of them still function normally because I've played everything for myself, and I am also very familiar with them on full boost. It's just that some suits that coincide really well with assists, like Hammurabi, feels sort of naked because they've taken out pretty much most of the assists that suits normally would have in this game. And suits like Banshee and NTD, with its beam boomerangs removed, don't really feel as fearsome as they once were. Another thing that doesn't exactly deal with gameplay, but still sort of raises a brow, was how the opening for this game literally lasted like 10 seconds. I mean, like, really? There's no way you can honestly defend this, except with the possibility of TM Revolution not wanting their song Inherit the Force, which by the way sounds really awesome, to be fully heard by the public, I guess. So with gameplay and story explained, I'm going to give my overall personal opinion about this game. For what this game is, it should be listed around $20, not full price, and I even think this game is 60% off at the moment, due to so many negative reviews it's received in Japan. I still nonetheless had fun playing this game, and I encourage you all to block out the trash talk this game has received and make the decision to buy the game solely for yourself. Use proper judgment and do research on games you're interested in to make sure if it's really for you. I've seen people who haven't even played the game trash talk it and preach to those all around them that are curious about the game how bad it is, and I really dislike seeing things such as that. Regardless if a game is bad in your opinion, you shouldn't really go out of your way to shoot down another person's potential interest in it. So the real question here is, am I satisfied with my purchase for this game? And the answer to that is, yeah. I knew what I was getting myself into and only wanted to try out the new Squad Battle Edition and play some of the new and old Maxi Boost suits. It was pretty interesting to see how they would go about having multiple suits from the arcade function in a squad-like manner. I am, however, not satisfied with the amount of money I spent for this game on release day. I spent well over $70 for this, and as far as the arcade comparison complaints go, if I wanted to play competitive 2-on-2 battles, then I would just obviously play full boost because that's what the game is actually dedicated towards. But what I hope is the case is that the dev team just did not have enough time to make the game to what they really wanted to ideally be, and was forced to sell the game as is with minor polishing to meet the deadline. That may not be true, but it's what I would like to ultimately assume compared to them intending the game to be this way. So if you're still deciding whether or not to buy the game, then check out some of my videos I have for the game. I have about 90% of the game on the playlist that will be down in the description box. So on a final note, yes, this game lacks content, and this game was also negatively overhyped because it caused many Gundam fans to be disappointed, because for what the game had to offer, obviously did not match the hype it produced. But that doesn't necessarily mean this game is 100% hopeless at letting the player have fun. And I know I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this because I'm probably that 1% that actually had fun playing this, but this was my take on the game itself, and I hope you all got a better insight as to what this game is. If you don't really care that much for a rich and memorable story, but want to experience some fun squad gameplay, then give this game a try, but only when it's reduced in price, and I have a feeling that will be pretty easy given the game's overall reputation. This game is pretty much very similar to Full Boost, but with toned down mechanics and a non-existent multiplayer. They may offer free content in the future, such as more suits in different areas, but they may also decide to not make it free and put a price tag on it because that's usually how it goes down, unfortunately. And one more thing that I forgot to mention is that this game is only available on the PlayStation Vita, and you can also buy a PlayStation TV, which is strangely very cheap to play this game as well. I believe they go for around $50-ish on Amazon, I think. I got mine for about $35 during the holidays because I'm really good at finding deals, but yeah. So that's pretty much it for this review. If any of you have any questions regarding this game or even want to discuss it, just ask down below in the comments. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys later.
舞い落ちる花